Hi and welcome to this tutorial on how to use the clapperboard in the UK. So I've got a clapperboard here, which is the tool of the second AC, the second camera assistant. It's just a cheap clapperboard that you can find on eBay, and I've just redone it so that it can actually be used professionally. So a few things on here. We've got the roll, which is basically the card that you're using. So I'm using camera A, and this is the first card that I'm using. And here is the first scene, so this is the first location, the first action. And here's the slate, so this is the first angle and first frame size that I'm using. So if I would zoom in, or if I use a different angle, then this number would go up to 2, 3, etc. And then finally the take, so it's how many times am I going to do this specific shot. So if I mess up and I do another take, that would be take 2. Now you wouldn't say everything, you wouldn't say roll 1, scene 1, slate 1, etc. You would just say 1, take 1. You keep it nice and simple, very short, very brief. You would say that after the first AD tells you to turn over and you've put the clapperboard in the shot. There's a bit more to it, but that will be explained in a different video. Down here we have various pieces of information, so it's daytime, interior, filter. It's not actually NG3, it was just an example here. And sync means that we have audio. If there was no audio, it would say MOS, and I would do this with 2 fingers through the clapperboard. A few other things that you need to know about the clapperboard, there's things like after full start. So you would put AFS, and when you'd call it out, you'd say 1, take 1, AFS, or after full start. So that would happen in a situation where you've started rolling and the actor's supposed to come in and doesn't for some reason, and then you cut. That's after full start. However, if action was called, then you would move on and put take 2, etc. Now, there's a few things that can happen as well. So, for example, if you're asked to do an end board, and that means you're going to do this clapperboard but at the end, so it will actually be upside down, and you'll do it the other way round. So you'll clap it first, turn it around, and then say 1, take 1 on the end. A few other things: if it's a very, very close shot on hands maybe, and you can't get your massive clapperboard in, what you want is the very basic information, which is 1, take 1, and be able to see where you're clapping. So that's why I call a mini board, and clap it like that. There you go. So that's the options. I've done a few things over here to show you. Now where I've put all the gaffer, you would normally just have some marker pens. So you can use that without too much of a problem, because you can. So this is with this pen, with a marker. Now I did another squiggly line, and then I covered it with some whiteboard pen. And as you can see, it comes right off. So you just draw on it, and then you can wipe it. Here you can see that I did a mirrored one. So I did that by looking through my clapperboard, drew the one. I would use that if we were shooting in a reflection of the mirror, and I wanted. So for example, you've got your actor looking into the mirror and the camera's shooting the reflection of the character. I put my clapperboard in front of the character's face and have to draw it upside down. So there's such a thing as soft sticks. So this is, for example, what you shouldn't do. That's much too loud in front of someone's face. So soft sticks would be something like this. It's a lot better for your actor because it's not so loud. So that's something you should remember. A few other things: you shouldn't have your clapperboard at a distance where you can't actually read it, like this for example. You need to fill up the frame, and you don't want it out of the shot either. So you might have noticed when I board, I do 1, take 1, and then I turn it. When I turn it, that allows me to make sure there's at least a part of this split that's actually in the shot. So if I messed up a little bit and I was up here, you can still see a little bit here. If I was straight on, I'd totally miss it. So that's something that's quite useful. Quite good to know how to do it with just one hand. So this is how I would do it. That was the soft sticks, or quite loud as well. So yeah, quite handy to be able to do that quite fast. Another thing is you wouldn't actually be in the shot. So if I was doing it properly, I'd do something like this and be out the shot. Yeah. Other little things, a lot of camera assistants tend to forget which take they're on. So there's a few things. You can either put a little dot, that means you set it up for your next shot. So that's my next one take one, I know it because there's a dot. Or as soon as you've shot it, one take one, you just discreetly, while they're doing the take, you're going to run your finger through it. There you go. And then when I look at it again, I'm like, oh, okay, that's been done. I can see that it's done. So I'm now going to put take two. That's very useful, really useful. And so yeah, it's a very useful tool, the clapperboard. It's used to sync sound with the image, but also just as a reference for the editor. And it also just tells everyone, right, we're ready to shoot. We can see the clapperboard. Everyone should be ready by now. So I hope you learned something, and comment if you have any questions.